We focus on history, culture, religion, art, social, and philosophy of Nusantara.
Here, in the presence of Nusantara, we were made to be forgotten about the goodness of ourselves. Because negativity seems to be more interesting for us. Now, I'm Sutoyo Raharto and friends, assist you, to remind you, to awaken you that we still can find the gems of Nusantara. They are the great sights of Nusantara. Good morning, Tsewang Norbu Vivek, a meditator from Ladakh, India. Wow.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of pictures in Ladakh. It was Himalayan mountain, yeah?
Yes.
Himalayan mountain, a part is Tibet, a part is in Ladakh.
Yes, Himalaya is, we are just on the border of, if you call it now, on the border of China and on the border of Pakistan. So the Pakistan is on the Karakoram range. We are on the Himalayan range. So Ladakh is kind of sandwiched between the two great mountains.
Oh, Pakistan also has Himalayan part.
Pakistan has the Karakoram range.
Oh, okay. It's different.
Have you heard about K2?
No.
This is like one of the other highest mountains in the Karakoram range, but the Himalayan range is the Everest part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, my first question, sir. Where is Ladakh, sir?
Okay, very good. Ladakh is at the top of India. It is like the head of India, basically. It is situated at 11,000 feet above sea level, or in meters, it's about 3,500 meters above sea level. And it used to be a very small little kingdom, Buddhist kingdom. But later, after the British came to India, then we were merged into the Indian territory. And now we are part of, geographically, politically, we are part of India, the larger India. But religiously, culturally, everything, we are absolutely very unique from other parts of India.
It's like Tibetan, Bhutan, is it?
Yes, actually, Ladakh used to be, in ancient times, was also known as Western Tibet. So
Western Tibet, okay.
In other words, you would say that in ancient time, Ladakh was part of Tibet, and the first king of Ladakh actually was the first king from Tibet.
Okay, so
well, in Tibet, the kings had this, among the brothers, there were disagreements. Then one of the brothers was sent to Ladakh to be part of this kingdom. And that's how Ladakh got Buddhism from Tibet, the influence of Vajrayana Tibetan Buddhism from Tibet. So if you look at religiously, if you look at Ladakh and Tibet are very, very similar. We share the same common teachings.
Wow, new knowledge today. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So Ladakhi recognize Dalai Lama, Panchen Lama, this kind of status?
Right. Dalai Lama, Ladakh is the only place in the whole of the world outside Tibet which preserves and practices all the 4 Tibetan schools of Buddhism. So Ladakh is basically the only place where we still practice all the 4 schools. That is Nyingmapa, Kagyutpa, Saskapa, Gelugpa, and Saskapa. So all the 4. Now, Gelugpa is the second largest population of Buddhist practitioners in Ladakh, but the #1 practitioners are Kagyutpa sect, which is like the yogic part. So Dalai Lama and Panchen Lama belongs to the Yellowheads or the Gelugpa tradition, and they especially Dalai Lama, he almost used to come until now. Now he's too old, but otherwise, almost every year he used to come to Ladakh to give teachings. So Dalai Lama, Panchen Lama, and all other highest Lama of all the 4 Tibetan tradition schools, they do visit, and we are very, very familiar with all of them.
So in religious activities, you guys are still the same with Tibetan, yeah?
Yes, in terms of our religious culture and religious traditions, we share absolutely the same common things.
Wow, I just know about this. Wow,
Like
wow.
that is why His Holiness Dalai Lama, he feels like Ladakh is for him his hometown, because geographically also we share the same, like the geographical setup. So the same conditions like in Tibet. So Dalai Lama gets the tsampa, barley wheat flour, which is called tsampa, and you get all this nomadic butter and all that stuff which he loves. And most of his traditional food from Tibet, like we produce the same in Ladakh. So many of the Ladakhi families actually provide Dalai Lama even today the original Tibetan sort of Ladakhi food to him and send it to Dharamsala for him.
How far is Ladakh to Dharamsala?
Well, from Ladakh to Dharamsala, it's about by road. You can go by 2 days by road.
Far. Okay, okay. Wow, sir. So the first Dalai Lama until the 14th Dalai Lama, uh, when was it was separate between Ladakh and Tibet? Oh yeah, after the British come, yeah.
Yes, it was basically, after the British time, then it was demarcated like Ladakh and Tibet, you see. And then, of course, it became more distinct in after India got independence. But prior to that, it was already divided. So Ladakh was, and Ladakh was attacked and captured by one of the local regional Indian kings, neighboring states. He captured India, and then Ladakh was merged with Jammu and Kashmir state. After the British came, we were merged into this. So this merging, when the India became part of India got independence, then Ladakh was merged with Jammu and Kashmir. Now you must have heard Kashmir. It used to be called the Switzerland of Asia. And now politically we became part of Jammu and Kashmir. Now Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh are all divided, I would say, by religion. Kashmir is a Muslim dominated state. Jammu is a Hindu dominated state. Ladakh is a Buddhist dominated state. But now recently, just in last year, the government of India bifurcated these 3 states into 2, Jammu Kashmir as one and Ladakh as one, which we call Union Territory. Sort of meaning to say that now Ladakh has become independent of Kashmir, meaning we are now free from the Muslim dominated state.
And does Ladakh still have a king?
Yes, we still have our king, but he doesn't hold any political or any position, but he still lives in the palace. Now, the Ladakh king, when the local regional king attacked Ladakh, and then the king was exiled to my small village. My village is called Stok. So he built his last palace in 1825 in my village, and he still lives in the palace along with his family. And he is still highly respected in the whole of Ladakh. And whenever there are special occasions, especially in my village, we have to have a special throne for him on any occasion, whether he comes or not, but as a respect for the royal family.
So I heard from my very, very good friend, he is a Tibetan, and he said that Dalai Lama holds 3 status.
Okay.
Political, religion, and what is it, culture or something. So he holds everything, and he and Panchen Lama was like the sun and the moon.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like Dalai Lama was the king for Tibet. Is it different from the king that you just said?
Well, basically, I would put it in the same category. But the difference of Dalai Lama in Tibet, Tibet has a unique historical thing with, ruling the country by monks. So this lineage started with, the first was the Sakyans. The Sakya class used to be the Saskia tradition, were the real royal rulers of Tibet. And that's why, Sakya tradition in Tibetan, the Saskiapa, they're actually still considered as the royal lineage or the divine lineage. The head of the Saskia tradition is half monk and half lay. So his lower robe is white. So they used to be the rulers of Tibet. But later, Gelugpa became rulers, which means Dalai Lama's tradition. Now, because Dalai Lama became the last ruler of Tibet, he holded not only the political power, he was the political head of the country, religious head of the country, because he was ruling. So obviously, Gelugpa becomes more dominant. But also there were other Nyingmapa and Kagyupa sect as well. But in Ladakh, the king is a layman. We were not ruled by the religious people, but more by normal lay people. So the power is the same, but our king doesn't hold the religious power as much as the Dalai Lama used to do.
Wow, it's new knowledge, sir. New knowledge. Thank you so much. And Nepal is also a part of Himalaya, right?
Yes, Nepal is also within the Himalayan kingdom. And actually, Nepal also, there is a large contingent of Tibetan Buddhist followers.
Yeah. I also have good friend in Nepal. It says that there was a small kingdom there. Does it still exists? In Indonesia, we also have kings.
Okay.
But the politicians get together with the kings because the people believe in the king, right. And every political movement, they always work together with the king. So is it like this in Ladakh?
Well, in Ladakh, unfortunately not. In Ladakh, our king, now the current king is he's like a very independent person. He doesn't involve in any of these political or any social sort of things. So he's I would say he's more like an independent businessman. I would rather say, with the position of a king. But what I would wish, and with many of the Ladakhi would wish, is that if he enters into politics or plays active politics, then probably he would have more respect. Now, for example, another person in the royal family, of the same royal family, is Mr. Thubsan Tsewang. He used to be the former member of parliament from Ladakh, and he's also considered a reincarnation of a very high Lama in Tibet. Now, because he has a royal lineage, and because of his religious connection of a reincarnated, he is respected not only as a politician, but also as a royal lineage and someone who is of a very high religious status. So this is the situation of this person who is not the direct king. But imagine if the real king becomes a member of parliament or maybe plays active role, then I'm sure most politicians would support him, because people still have royal sympathy.
Yeah, this is what they do in Indonesia. We still have faith in the kings.
Well, I think it's the same in Nepal too. Sorry, in Thailand too. I'm in Thailand, so Thailand royal monarchy is the same.
Yes. As I remember, you have a Dhamma school there. On the top of the mountain, you have Dhamma school. On the top of Himalaya, you have a a Dhamma school. How was it? What are the activities, and who are the students who are willing to study on the top of Himalaya, sir?
Well, first of all, it's my actually Dhamma house. I call it Dhamma house. It is basically my personal home, which I turned into a meditation center way back in 2004 when I first started to teach meditation. And when I told my friends that I'm going to teach meditation, having studied in a monastery 10 years in India and then almost 2.5 years in Myanmar. I came back and wanted to start teaching people. But I wasn't really welcomed by the locals because they felt like, how can a lay person teach Dhamma and how can a lay person be a meditator? Because
I was guessing that one.
Yeah. In the Tibetan tradition, mostly meditation and Dhamma talks are not given by normal lay people, but they are taught by high lamas like Dalai Lama and other Rinpoches and all that. So when I said like I'm a meditator, I'm going to teach meditation, people started laughing at me and they didn't accept me. So what I did was I started teaching the Westerners who came from all over the world as tourists to Ladakh. So I opened a course for them. And over 2004 to 2008, Dhamma House became so popular among people, among the Westerners, that I started getting invitation to different countries also to run courses. And for me, living in a Tibetan Vajrayana kingdom and coming from a Theravadian tradition and to introduce meditation, there was a very, very big challenge. But I really enjoyed that. And but the good thing is I also studied a lot about Vajrayana meditation, Vajrayana teachings, because one of my uncle, he's a Rinpoche in the Gelugpa tradition. He's a very high Lama. Two of my brothers are very high Geshe Larampas, like very high scholarly monks. And we all share a common sort of, and I come from a Theravadian tradition. So in my family, when somebody introduces, they will say, first of all, the greatest person in our family is this Rinpoche. So they show my uncle. And then they will say, second is his brother, Geshe Larampa. Then there's my third brother. He says, then we have this PhD from Banaras Hindu University. He's also a monk. Oh, and then he's him. And lastly, they'll introduce me. And then we have this Theravada Vivek. So that's like the fun we have at home. But having said all this, so I started teaching, and then my family also couldn't relate to what I was teaching, but doesn't matter, I started. And in 2008, I realized that the young people, many of the younger generations were not very keen on the rites and rituals and mantras and all that thing that was going on in the Tibetan traditional school. So they started asking questions and they didn't get satisfactory answers. So they started exploring what are the options we have. And so I started an organization called International Fellowship of Buddhist Youth Ladakh, actually to target the young people into meditation and give them the basic teachings. As anticipated, it became a huge success because we integrated with Dhamma and meditation, we integrated leadership, life skills training, sort of personality development, language communication skills, and public speaking and all that. So it became a huge, huge hit. And since 2008 to 2000 until now, our program is one of the most successful youth leadership, Dhamma youth leadership program. So now, since 2004, we had 90% programs for Westerners and about 10% for locals. Now it's reverse. We have 90% programs for the locals and about 10% for the Westerners. Now, in summer, we run courses, meditation courses, leadership courses for our students who are studying outside Ladakh in universities and colleges outside. And in winter, during the long holiday, winter holiday, we run 2 to 3 month winter camps, residential camps for students who are actually in Ladakh who have a long holiday. So we integrate Dhamma teachings, meditation, leadership, life skills, and things like that. And this is one of the main programs that we do. And we also promote, we started women workshops. We realized that the students come to us, they learn Dhamma, go back home, but then they have a big conflict between the parents because the parents also have no idea of what the teachings are. Most of the older generation people have no idea where was Buddha born, what were his teachings. So of course, they were very devout Buddhists. They do a lot of mantras and all that, but they had no idea. Now their children comes and says, "Mommy, do you know where Buddha was born?" And their parents were like, "What? What was his first teaching?" No. So they started teaching, and the mothers became very skeptical. No, you are becoming less devotional, you are disrespecting and all that. So the kids said, no, you go and ask my teacher. So then we decided that why not we run a camp for the mothers? So we started a 10-day residential camp for the mothers of the children. And again, it became a big success because I'm teaching Dhamma not as a hierarchy sort of, in the Buddhist hierarchy like the monks. I teach like a normal person. I sit with them, I eat with them, I play with them and all that. So the mothers could ask me questions of anything under the sky, like what is the meaning of this mantra? Why this monk shaved their head? Everything. So I would answer to them in a very friendly way with no hierarchy. So they could relate to me very well. And it also is one of the most successful Dhamma camps that we run at Dhamma House. So basically, these are our main Dhamma programs.
Sir, when we met in Seoul, Korea,
Yes.
it was the beginning of your program.
When I met in Korea, I would say, yes, it was just the beginning of it. And I was in the process of doing it.
Okay, okay. How is the population in Ladakh? Is it a lot of people, 1,000, 10,000,
You see,
100,000?
Ladakh, area-wise, we are bigger than Switzerland. But our population is just about 200,000, approximately 200,000, and 60% Buddhist and 40% Muslims, according to this statistics that I'm giving. It's about 2 decades back. But now I think it could be a little bit more up and down, but basically it is 60-40.
60-40, okay. You also teach meditation, sir. What kind of meditation do you teach? It seems you have many disciples around the world. Yeah.
Yes.
From which countries?
Right. Basically, I divide my time between Ladakh, other parts of India, Thailand, and Europe. So I would be every year, this is my regular thing. So in Europe, I've been to Poland, I've taught in Poland, Czech, Slovakia, and basically these 3 countries. And I go to Czech Republic every year because I have many, many students in Czech Republic, especially most of my students are actually from the film industry. They are top actors, actresses, singers, and all that. So I'm actually very close to many of the top award-winning actresses, and some of them very popular are my best students in Czech. So I go every year there to run courses. And then in Slovakia, I also give public talks and all that. And in India, I run seminars every year for college university students. It's more of motivational talks, a day program. Every year we do it in 5 or 6 states in India. And then in Thailand, I run English Dhamma programs, mindfulness workshops and Dhamma teachings and meditation courses for people who want to learn in English. So I do that every year regularly in Thailand. And also apart from that, I also run a summer camp for international school kids in Thailand. But now my program is expanding in Thailand, so I'm becoming a very popular teacher among kids camp, Dhamma kids camp. So the kids are between 7 years to like 10 years, things like that. So I do 3 days of kids camp and things like that. So yeah, it's growing now.
And yeah, go back to your story. Many tourists in Ladakh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, are there many tourists in Ladakh?
Well, Ladakh's main source of income is actually tourism. We don't have any other industry apart from tourism. So the our tourism started in 1974. Ladakh was officially open to tourists, and since then, we have had so many tourists. And so during the summer months, Ladakh is like flooded with tourists from around the world. And many of the people that come, majority of the people actually come for adventure because Ladakh is known for trekkings in the Himalayas. And also my meditation program, which is trekking meditation camp, is very popular among travelers. So I do trekking meditation camps where we actually camp, we trek in the mountains with tents and team, and then we silently walk in the nature, doing vipassana outdoors, camping, eating out, and then spending a few days and coming back. So it's very popular. And then the other people who are interested are people who come in search of spirituality. So we have a large tourists who come in search of peace and spirituality. So because Ladakh has hundreds of monasteries, and many of the monasteries looks like the replica of Potala in Tibet. And one of our monastery really looks like Potala, and it's even like nicknamed as the Potala of Tibet. So, and then from Southeast Asia and from South Asian countries, we have also have many tourists.
Oh, okay. I want to ask you something. I just forget.
Mm-hmm.
There is a close connection between Ladakh and Tibetan Buddhism. Many Buddhists know that Atisa Dipankara was in Sumatra, Indonesia, to learn Buddhism for 12 years.
Yes.
1,000 around 1,000 years ago. Yeah. Do the Ladakhi know about Atisa?
Well, Atisha Dipankara is one of the most popular figures in Ladakh. In fact, his statue can be found in most of the big temples in Ladakh, sorry. So a lot of people, they worship him. Yes, of course, not many people know that Atisha Dipankara spent about so many years in Indonesia, Sumatra. But I spoke to some of my students and some of my friends who have done their PhD in Buddhist studies. Even according to them, it's more of a legendary than actually historical fact. But yes, because he's famous because of the main teaching called Lamrim. Lamrim is the main teachings in the Gelugpa tradition, which Dalai Lama, whenever he comes to Ladakh, mostly he will be giving Lamrim teachings. And when the Lamrim teachings is given, people from all over Ladakh, they come to attend his teachings. And then Dalai Lama would always make a mention of Atisha Dipankara, who is the main person behind the Lamrim teachings.
So can you explain what is Lamrim, sir?
Lamrim basically is like, I don't know if you've heard this, in Theravadan tradition, we have Buddha Ghosa's text. You know, it's Vishuddhimagga, for example. It is exactly nothing but like the Vishuddhimagga of the Gelugpa tradition or the Tibetan Buddhism. And, you know, it is basically a commentary written based on the main text of Atisha Dipankara. It is a commentary written on that. It's basically nothing but an elaboration of all the practices, the meditation, and all that Buddha's teachings. And then the commentary written in Tibetan, all the four traditions, they have their own different commentaries of the same text. But Gelugpa, they call it Lamrim. And Gelugpa is more popular because of His Holiness Dalai Lama.
Sir, go back to your story. It's very interesting. When was Ladakh, as Western Tibet and Eastern Tibet, separated?
Well, I don't know exactly the history when was it separated. All I remember from my childhood, the only thing I remember was before India was fully opened to, like, you know, to India and to the rest of the world. You know, Ladakh is basically, because we are in the Himalayas, we are cut off from the rest of the world for almost 6 to 7 months in a year. We are like actually basically locked down, because all the high passes that connects Ladakh with the rest of India gets blocked by October or November every year because of snowfall. And in the old days, we hardly had any flights, so we were basically locked down. And Ladakhis, about a few decades ago, Ladakhis hardly used to travel because Ladakhis didn't have the resources also. But Ladakh's main pilgrimage was to walk to Tibet. So people of Ladakhis were not going to pilgrimage to Bodh Gaya and all these places before. We used to walk to Tibet on a pilgrimage. Like my uncle, who is now 80 plus, he has been to Tibet on a pilgrimage, you know, carrying all their loads. And it's like basically Muslim going to Mecca, you know, just going with renouncing everything and making clear everything. So that is the thing that I remember. But I don't know exactly the history. I've not really studied the history of how Ladakh and Western Tibet became separate. But I think when the king's brothers were divided the kingdom, one of the son was given the Ladakh as his kingdom, and that's it. So it was, it remained like as his independent kingdom, and from there it started evolving.
Sir, can we go to the top of the Himalaya from Ladakh?
Well, we have the highest motorable road in the world is in Ladakh.
Not in Tibet.
No, the highest motorable road, maybe now if China has built a new road, I don't know, but right now, as of record, Ladakh has the highest motorable road in the world, which is almost 5,000 meters. So you can basically drive there because we have another valley beyond that pass. So we have to cross that. So if you cross that, even during summer, you can see snow and glaciers just on the road.
Oh,
and now it's a very popular tourist destination. So people will go up there, see the snow, and then come down, drive down. And many people would actually drive up there with a bicycle on their car and then cycle down on a bicycle.
Wow. Not dangerous, sir.
Well, it is dangerous, but you know, people love adventure, so.
Okay, there is one question from my friend.
Yeah, sure.
The king or prince just as 12 Tsewang Norbu Rinpoche from a little kingdom in Sikkim.
Okay.
Most of the regions all over Himalaya in Buddhism tradition, right?
Yes.
Is it correct? Okay.
Tibetan Buddhism, actually, let me put it this way. India lost Buddhism almost completely. By 1950s, India had almost no Buddhism at all. The only Buddhism that was preserved in India was in the Himalayan range, right from Ladakh down to Bhutan. So if you look at the whole higher Himalayan ranges, that is where Buddhism was preserved. The rest of India almost completely lost Buddhism. So from the beginning, if you look at, there's this Ladakh, and then you come down to Arunachal Pradesh, and then Sikkim, and then you come to Bhutan and all that. So this Sikkim and all this area, Arunachal and all this area actually still has an influence of Tibetan Buddhism.
Wow, wow. And Kashmir, it was a Muslim or Buddhist country?
Historically, they say like Kashmir, according to Buddhist history as well, in Indian history as well, Kashmir used to be one of the most thriving Buddhist country those days. But then after the Mughals, invaded India, they said like they destroyed all the temples, Buddhist temples, and built the mosque. And when I visited Kashmir a couple of years back, I was anchoring for one of the TV channels, travel channels. And you could see that the foundation of the mosque is actually a Buddhist foundation. And on top of that is built a Muslim mosque.
Same here.
Yeah, so It's interesting because the Muslims, they guided me through and they were telling me that this was basically a Buddhist temple. So now Kashmir is completely like, there is only a very small, sort of traces of Buddhism, but otherwise it's completely wiped out. But you will find a lot of like ruins, Buddhist ruins in many different parts of Kashmir.
Wow. I remember that when one of my professor told me that when the British came, they want to conquer the silk of Kashmir. And then they cut all the fingers of the handcrafter of silk.
Yeah.
Have you heard this story?
Well, I haven't heard, but I heard similar stories about Taj Mahal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now let us see your video, sir. It's amazing. Okay, what is it?
Well, this is
courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage you can't practice any other virtue consistently. If you want to be truly happy, motivate yourself. Don't listen to those people who always discourages and demotivates you.
Did you feel cold here?
Always.
Well, it was freezing cold, but I meditate in the water, so that survived.
Okay, there is another video that was amazing, I think. Let me see. Oops, where was it? You were running with
Oh, the kids.
your, oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the mind. Oh, strong in the mind, man. What he follows you.
Okay, you have heard a nice philosophical term like grow old or grow up, something like
Well,
that.
I believe in not growing old. I believe in growing up, man. This is how you grow up.
And when he, okay,
Great mind.
let me jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are
Sorry.
taking all the precautions to make sure everybody walks safely and there are no casualties, nothing. Everybody's having fun. You can see. Hey, Mr. Shakti, how are you?
I'm very good and I'm enjoying this other trek.
Yeah, why do you have this rope on you?
Yeah, this is for the rescuing, you know.
I see.
Yes,
Okay, take care. Have a good day. Hello, Gilly, how are you? Enjoying? Yeah, please take care. Yes, everyone, come on, enjoying. Dhamma students, hip hip. Yes, come on. Yeah.
Okay, back to
Yeah.
here, sir. I want to ask about this.
Well, the first video and the second video are all connected. So this is one of the activities, winter camp activities, where we take the students to, this is a very famous river that gets frozen in winter. And there is a winter tourism called Chadar Trek. Chadar Trek means walking on the icy river. So, well, if people are not careful, then the ice could break and sometimes we have casualties where people die in this river. But every year I would take about 100 students with me on this trek and we all walk on the ice. And then I would jump in the river, on the icy river, and swim as a motivation or inspiration for the young people.
How many degrees, sir? How many degrees?
So it'll be like minus 30 degrees in the water. So it's really freezing cold. And when I jump, I actually do it as part of my meditation. So when I jump, I'll not be like, oh my gosh, cold. I'll be like keeping calm and slowly getting into the cold, and then slowly swim. And even when you come out, you don't react. You just observe the cold and just let go of the cold, so you don't fall sick or anything. But otherwise, believe me, it's so cold outside and it's so windy that your ears and your cheeks become absolutely numb. You can't even feel it.
Sir, I saw some of the students are Westerners.
Well, actually, all the students are local Ladakhis, no foreigners.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a Farang there.
No, they're all Ladakhis only. But yes, many foreigners. It's very popular among foreigners and Indian tourists, especially in winter. They come for this. Now it's going on. It just reopened a few days back.
Oh, wow.
And this year we are not running the camp because of the corona thing. And one of our neighbors of Dhamma house died of coronavirus. So the villagers decided that this year we will not allow anyone to have this big gathering.
Okay. And the locals are excited about your program also.
Oh yeah, they're like, as soon as we open the winter camp, it is overbooked. There are many waiting lists. It is a very popular program.
Wow. You
And
must be.
I'm writing a book right now. It is called Story Meditation. And these are the stories of hundreds of students who came to Dhamma House and transformed their life completely. And these are the stories of students who have gone into extreme habits in life, like drugs, like sexually abused, and sort of went to prison, and things like that, or domestic violence at home. So there are very interesting life stories of these students who are now living completely a transformed Dhamma life. So I'm actually writing a book right now. It'll be called Story Meditation.
Story meditation. Wow. Amazing, sir.
Yes.
Let me ask my friend whether they have some questions for you.
Okay.
Teman ada yang mau bertanya? Silakan. And you are still locked down in Bangkok.
Yeah, I'm still stuck. We don't have regular flights to India. So.
Yes, I have one question. Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Just want to like to know, where is exactly? Do you know Tsewang from Ladakh?
Oh, Tsewang
Which
is
part?
absolutely. We are in the northwestern part of India, extreme northwest, and Tsewang is extremely northeast.
I see. So it is opposite.
Yes, exactly the opposite.
I see.
Tsewang,
Okay.
yeah, Tsewang is also a very beautiful Tibetan Buddhist center. I've been there many times, and my monastery in South India also has a branch in Tsewang. So we are running a monastery, old age home, and a school.
I see. So you know Anila Gendon Lamu. Gendon Lamu.
No, I don't know her personally, but I've heard about her.
Yeah, she's the principal of the school. I mean, one of the school there.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
I don't know her personally. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who is there? Because one of my friend, the one in we working together in social work. We were in Ladakh. I mean, a few years back.
I see.
Yeah, for bringing the for medical outreach there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I don't know which one, which temple. Forgot already.
Okay. Yeah, Ladakh is very lucky, very fortunate. I would say that Ladakh has been, liked by many people around the world, and we are very happy because many people came not only as a tourist but as responsible tourists. So because of which Ladakh has fairly been able to protect its environment, and and we have been able to take advantage of the tourists who came with medical assistance, providing medical facilities, educational supports, environmental supports, and things like that. So thank you.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, but
yes.
they don't because I heard in Tsewang all of the people there live they don't allow to kill anything, so they're all vegetarian. How about in Ladakh?
Well, in Ladakh, Buddhists anyway don't kill, so all the killings are done by the Muslims.
Oh, okay. So you bought the thing from the neighbors.
Exactly. Like it's basically, in Ladakhi Buddhist, we don't have butchers within the Buddhist community. So all the butchers are actually the Muslim community.
Okay.
Even during the king's time, the king used to hire and bring one or two Muslims to settle in the village so that he would do this killing part. So we call them, basically, it's a very funny word that we use for the Muslims in our place. We call them the sinners, actually.
Yeah, that's cute.
So they do the killing, but of course we eat more than the Muslims because we are more populated,
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for your explanation. Yeah, so maybe someday we'll go to your place.
Yes, one thing is sure that fishing is officially forbidden by the Buddhist community. So even the Muslims or Buddhists, nobody can do fishing in the rivers of the Himalayas. That is where it's forbidden.
Oh, that's the rule. So it's almost same thing in Tsewang, right? Yeah.
That's a rule. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. Thank you very much for your explanation.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
Is it because the dead body also given to the fish?
No. It's basically a Tibetan belief. Again, in Tibetan, eating fish is considered to be the biggest sin as compared to any other animals. Killing fish is worse than any other animals because, according to them, they say that the fish doesn't have a tongue, so that he cannot express his feelings. It cannot express his feelings. Whereas other animals, they have tongues, so they can scream, they can shout. So to kill someone who cannot express themselves is more sinful than actually killing somebody which can express.
Oh, okay. But my Tibetan friends say that because the dead body also given to the fish. That's why in Tibet they don't eat fish.
Well, basically, as far as my knowledge goes, and as far as I know, even in Ladakh, in the ancient time, dead bodies are fed to the vultures, not in the river.
The birds, yeah.
We cut it into pieces and throw it to the vultures. on the top of the mountain. So you will see that in Ladakh, all the people's ashes, when they die, they are thrown on the top of the mountain facing the river. But in Buddhist tradition, you will never throw a dead body in the water, because water is considered very, very clean. So you would not throw anything, especially dead body, impossible to throw it. So that's why they feed the body to the vultures.
Okay, okay. Mhm.
And for two reasons, basically, yes. And number two, there is no firewood to burn the body anyway.
Too cold. Okay. Okay, thank you, sir, for your time, for your knowledge. It's
You're
amazing,
welcome.
amazing morning. Before you leave Bangkok, I would like to invite you for this kind of conversation, for Dhamma
Sure.
sharing. I think it's still many knowledge that we have to gain from you.
Well, thank you so much. How do I call you? Soto yo?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, it has been my pleasure to talk to you, and I'm very glad that few of your friends are watching this. And right now, I'm actually on a meditation retreat, personal retreat for a week. I do that quite often when I get time. So I'm very lucky, and with that, I spend about 7 to 8 hours meditating during the day, and I'm very glad that I'm doing this during my retreat. So, you know, and I very much look forward to in future again to have a conversation and learn from each other. And thank you once again. And selamat pagi, right?
Selamat pagi. Yes, selamat pagi. You know a lot of Indonesian in international
I've had a
conference.
lot of Indonesian friends before in Myanmar.
Oh, in Myanmar. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sir, one more question. So
Yes.
in the past, Tibet was very, very big country, sir.
Well, I wouldn't say Tibet was a big country, but you know, it was. I would say if Ladakh would be included, and the Spiti was included, you know, for example, you know, Atisha Dipankara has no records of coming to Ladakh, but there is a record because the Atisha Dipankara and Lotsava Rinchen Zangpo were contemporaries, you know, and Lotsava Rinchen Zangpo was one of the greatest translators in Tibet, a great scholar, very great scholar. He has a lot of influence in Ladakh, and he built many temples in Ladakh and Spiti, and also in Tibet, they believe. So on the border of Ladakh and Tibet, there is a place where they have a record of where Atisha and Lotsava, they met to exchange and appreciate each other's greatness.
Wow.
So from that, you would feel that Tibet at that time was also, if you consider Ladakh as part of Tibet, then yes, Tibet was much larger than what it is today.
Wow. Wow. Okay, thank you so much, sir, for your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much.
Next time, talk about Vajrayana Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism. Yes.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Sadhu.
Thank you.
Sadhu.